everybody, it's Chris Bezanoy, or Chris B, with CSB Security Inc., and yet another informative video. Today we're going to talk about the differences between building out a Phase 1 footprint versus an entire facility. Before I go forward, just a little bit of a disclaimer. What I'm about to tell you is based on my experience over the past 5 years dealing with Health Canada, visiting 100 sites, over 310 applications, 53 plus attestations, but nonetheless, it is my opinion, and your opinions may vary. So, when I'm referring to a Phase 1 versus a full build-out, I'm referring to the construction of a compliant ACMPR and Cannabis Act facility. There are pros and cons to both, which I'm going to go through now. The top 3 reasons why you may want to build out a phased approach are as follows. Number 1, it's cheaper. It's a lot less expensive to build out 7 or 8 rooms to prove your cultivation and your test grows than it is to build out 40 rooms. So right off the top, it's cheaper. You don't have to build out 40 or 50 rooms. You only have to build out 7. Number 2, it's faster to get a license. You're only attesting to 7 or 8 rooms and maybe an exterior. You're not attesting to 48 rooms and an exterior. So the attestation itself may only take a day and a half, 2 days max, versus 4 or 5 days for an entire 40-room facility. Health Canada will like it. They're going to be able to review it faster. There's going to be a lot less questions, a lot less rooms that may be non-compliant. It's just reducing the entire footprint from 100% to just 25. The third reason why you may want to build out a phased approach is that you may not have the time to complete the entire facility. Sometimes investors say, listen, I want a license by Q1 of 2019. And you're looking at it and saying, oh boy, we're in December of 2018. We won't be able to build out the full entire facility. We can only do a phased approach. In that situation, the investors are the one that are dictating to you, for our investors and our announcements, we need to have a cultivation license by a certain date. Doesn't say it has to be the whole building. It just says cultivation license. The top 3 reasons why you may not want to go with a phased approach. Number 1, you have to protect that phased approach. You have to make sure it's compliant. The ACMPR and now the new Cannabis Act states you have to detect actual or attempted intrusions onto the site. If your phased approach is within a facility, the walls of that Phase 1 footprint now become your perimeter. Therefore, you have to protect it accordingly. Do you put motion detectors inside the space? Do you put them outside the walls? Do you have roof laser protection? Do you put a fence line around the Phase 1, even though it's in the middle of your Phase 2? Many things to consider. Point being, Phase 1 has to be protected and separated from Phase 2, which leads us to our second potential reason why you would not want to build out a phased approach, and that is to be GPP compliant in Phase 1. Yes, you have to be compliant in Phase 1. There is no doubt. What I'm referring to is Phase 2. If you have construction going on in Phase 2, but you're trying to do your test grows in Phase 1, you better make sure Phase 1 is fully sealed. Here's an example. Health Canada has often come back and said, it's great. We love your Phase 1 approach. We see you've got everything GPP compliant. You sent us a picture of your Phase 2 showing construction. We notice there's no epoxy coated floor. We notice your Phase 1 has one. Are you going to be laying epoxy when you've got your test grows going on? And if your answer is yes, Health Canada will nail you. And they'll say, how are you preventing contamination inside your Phase 1 footprint if your Phase 1 is not fully sealed? It's especially difficult with Phase 1s inside of greenhouses. So, number 2 reason is you have to be GPP compliant in Phase 1. Phase 2 will affect your Phase 1. And the third reason why you may not want to do a phased approach is because investor money. Investors may say, listen, we've asked for a full build out. We've given you all the money. We've expected certain things to be done by a certain time. If we don't build out, the people that are investing into this company may start getting rid of their stock. May not be happy about the fact that you couldn't do a whole full out facility build out and you only did a Phase 1. It doesn't matter. They still want to do the entire thing. And as a bonus, I would say maybe the 4th reason why you may not want to do a phased footprint is that you get bulk pricing when you do an entire facility. I'm going to talk about that when it comes to building up the entire facility. The point is, there's going to be cost savings when you do the entire thing. Maybe not up front, but in the long term. On the other side of the coin, we've got a full build out. And here's the top reasons why you may want to do a full build out. Number 1, it's easier to maintain GPP compliance. You can build out your entire facility, have all your FRP panel walls, have your fence line that goes around the entire facility. It is fully protected. No construction workers need to be on site. Nothing. It's fully ready to go. You lock down the 40 rooms that you're maybe not using for your cultivation grow. It's compliant though. It's got cameras. It's got this and that. But you're ready to go. It's a lot easier to protect a full out perimeter of a full building design. The second reason why you want to maybe build out the entire facility is that it's GPP compliant and it's easier to maintain GPP compliance. There's no construction going on. There's no epoxy coated floors everywhere. There's no construction workers traipsing their dirty boots potentially inside your phase one, which of course you won't want to do, but it could happen. The third reason why you may want to build out your entire facility is, again, funding. You may want to build out that entire facility because your investors are saying that we want to make it happen. We want a full facility by Q4 because we're going to make a major announcement and that's going to cause our stock to potentially increase. Maybe they got other investors that are looking into investing or partnering and they're saying, okay, how do we make this look better to people that may want to buy us out? Well, let's build out the entire facility so they don't have to worry about it when they come and buy the facility. On the other side of the coin, there are cons to building out an entire facility, and they are as follows. Number one, cost again. Perhaps you don't have all the money up front. Perhaps the idea is that you need to start making money in order to expand. Sometimes people don't have all the money in the bank. They don't have the investors that will have $40 million at their disposal to build out the entire facility. So sometimes cost comes into play. The second reason, as alluded to before, is time. Maybe the investors, maybe you are the COO, maybe you're the SPIC, you've invested enough time, enough money, it's getting down to the grind. You need to have a license by a certain date, and building out an entire facility doesn't make any sense. Too expensive, and you're not going to get a license in the time that you want it to. The third reason why you may not want to build out an entire facility is because of the attestation. As I mentioned before, you have to attest the entire facility. It's a lot harder to get 40 rooms licensed than it is 7. The decision to do a phased approach versus the entire facility is based on cost, it's based on time, it's based on growing strategies, it's based on how quick you want to get a license, it's based on the protection of the phase 1 versus the entire facility. There are a number of factors. You have to decide which one is better for you. Now, I can say that pre-Cannabis Act, as in pre-October 17th, there was a big rush to get licenses before October 17th, even application numbers before October 17th. It is now October 3rd of 2018, and I can say that things are starting to slow down because people are realizing you can put an application in now, you're probably not going to get that application number. You certainly won't get a license if you put an attestation in on October 3rd and expect one before October 17th. It's just not going to happen. So some people are saying, you know what, if we're going to be part of the Cannabis Act anyways, let's take our time. Let's build out the entire facility. Who cares? We'll wait until February of 2019, March of 2019. We'll abide by the Cannabis Act. We have the time. Let's do the entire facility because now there's no rush. Either way, phased footprint is a good thing. I still firmly believe that is the best way forward. There are a number of reasons why, and they are as follows. 1 is cost. 2 is time. 3, it's easier to get licensed. And 4, which is potentially a bonus reason, is that you're going to be able to expand and build out while you're licensing your phase 1. When you do your cultivation grows, you'll be testing them to make sure that you don't make the mistakes potentially in your phase 2. What I mean by that is you can still construct phase 2 as your phase 1 is going on. That doesn't have to stop, but you're only licensing phase 1. You're only doing your test grows in phase 1. Imagine if you decided, hey, I would like to use LED lights as my strategy, and you built out your full facility, all 50 rooms with LED lights. Then you go to do your test grows, and you figure out, well, LED lights work well for mothers and clones, but for flowers, we may have been sold something that doesn't live up to what it's supposed to do. I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm just saying you will learn from your cultivation phase. You will learn how you're going to grow, your environment, if things are going to work, if they're not going to work. Imagine if you build out the whole facility and you realized, I don't want to do LED lights. It's just not working for me. Now you got to go back and replace all the lights. I can honestly say that has happened before. There is a licensed producer, a very large one. It actually made the news, where they decided to do certain type of lighting. And now they're ripping it all out because they just didn't get the yields that they wanted. In fact, there's a lawsuit going on also from the lighting manufacturer. I won't say who. The point is, this stuff happens. Phase 1 allows you to test and perfect, and then you duplicate for the 40 other rooms as part of your phase 2. If you want to find out more about phased approaches, what you need, how you can articulate to Health Canada how you're compliant with a phased approach versus a full build, if you want to find out if a full build is what you need to do and you still want to be compliant, you can do either one. Business decision is yours. Contact us, send me an email, give me a phone call, ask your questions. I'll do my best to answer them. The point is, phased approach is entirely up to you. It's a business decision. Phased is easier to get licensed and potentially works well with your business strategy. Full build out is a little more tricky to get licensed, but it also may work well for your business strategy. Once again, it's Chris Besnoy from CSB Security Inc. We do a lot of these videos. Feel free to follow us on YouTube. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you at the next video.